Hello to you, I'm Jessie Johnson. This is what causes high tide and low tides, some of its elements and basics. A few of those elements are given here, not all elements. You will supply the other 5 or 6, but most of it is here. This gives a reasonably firm idea of what causes high and low tides, and many of its detailed actions and mechanisms. You cannot have a complete or near complete answer or answers until and unless you take into account the whole, W-H-O-L-E. So we start with the truth and end with the truth. Number 1, the earth where we live is flat or a plane or planar, like a sheet of paper. The earth is a minimum of 14.5 thousand miles in radius, not 4,000 miles in radius, and approximately, as far as I can tell, 37,000 miles in radius maximum. The earth is inside of a container firmament of its own. This is to keep gas pressure, the air we breathe. Number 2, the sun is 1,651.29 miles away when circling the equator. The moon is 1,500 to 1,600 miles away on its circuit, along with the Phoenix and Nemesis systems, which are a few thousands or so miles away, along with the wandering stars, Jupiter, Saturn, and so forth, a few thousands of miles away, all within a firmament container of their own. Number 3, light years do not exist. Polaris, as an example, the so-called North Star, or in fact the central North Star, is 6,589 miles straight above the Earth. And the fixed stars are several thousands to an approximate maximum of 175,000 to 200,000 miles away, as far as I can tell. All of these together produce patterns of cycles, seasons, periods, periodicity, flawless timed repeats, etc., on cosmic as well as down to Earth scales, as down to our scale, as a single unit. Astrology is in fact science. Astronomy is in fact 100% not science, 100% false science. Astronomy is not science at all. Now, the ocean rising 5 to 20 feet per day is an immense thing to us, but not to the size of the ocean. Now, please look at this while we continue. Now, to continue, our subject is the tides. We'll start with A, subject. What makes the tides? High tide as well as low tide. We'll go to B, lift. What lifts the ocean 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 50 feet and so forth? Mechanical, like your hands picking it up, that's mechanical. Or like a bulldozer picking it up, that's mechanical. We can just about cross this one out because we know well enough the oceans don't physically rise above the basin or the floor, the ocean floor and the lake floors and so forth. So number 2, expansion, the atoms themselves expanding away from each other, creating bulk and so forth. Number 3, water finds its level. That takes time for water to find its level, whether it's a few seconds or a few minutes or a few hours to find its level. Now, we'll go to C. These are some of the questions that will be asked. Number 1, what makes the water rise and falls? Number 2, why some areas are higher or lower than others? Number 3, do all water bodies rise and fall? We'll go to D. D is elements. We'll start with the category of elements A. Number 1, the stars, wandering stars, fixed stars, periodicity of these stars. Number 2, the times that these things happen, or patterns and cycles and so forth, or over hours, days, weeks, months, years. Decades, millennia, mega years, that's million years, giga years, that's billion years, etc., periods. Number 3, flat earth via its water. Number 4, the firmament dome membrane. The earth has a membrane above it, roughly about 70 to 75 miles above us. when you went over the United States, and roughly about 2,000 miles above us, which houses the sun and moon dome, and so, etc. The dome that the Mark Sargent primary dome is the one that covers us. We'll go to E. We'll go to category B for elements. Number 1, salt and different chemicals. 2, magnetic fields and electric fields, gigantic ones, not small little hand magnets, but gigantic magnetic fields and electric fields. Number 3, heat and cold, above and below ground and water. Number 4, the surface and the depth of the body of water and so forth. Number 5, the sun, moon, phoenix, nemesis, stars, wandering stars, as well as fixed stars. We'll go to 6 now. The cycles, the periodicity of all other Earth systems. The repeat Earth patterns, swelling, contractions of the Earth lithoplane, atmoplane, that's the air you breathe, H2O plane, that's in H2O in liquid form is water, H2O in solid form is ice, H2O in vapor form is gas, and so forth, the H2O plane. The repeat Earth major pressure zones. Number 7, atoms and molecular activities of expansion and contraction. Number 8, expansion or rise in feet compared to the overall sizes of ocean. In other words, an ocean might rise 20 feet, but the ocean itself is tens of thousands of miles across. So the rise in feet is almost nothing, is microscopic to the size of the ocean itself. Now, to the overall size of ocean, seas, lakes, swamps, etc. Regardless of the body of water sizes. Lakes rises, seas rises, swamps rises. This can be found on YouTube, several dozen videos that talks about high tides and low tides. They have visual images of these things rising and falling. Number 9, tides stir currents. The currents, the waves, and so on. Number 10, times of day of high and low tides. There's a time and day for high and low tides. Let's continue. We'll go to F, the elements. This is category C. Number 1, there are 2 high tides and 2 low tides per day in many places, and that's also 1 single high tide and 1 single low tide per day in other places. Number 2, it takes about 6 hours for water to go from low to high, and about 6 hours, a little more, for water to go from high to low. Now, let's go to 3. The spring tides are the highest. Number 4, the flat Earth. The minimum radius is 14.5 thousand miles and approximately 37,000 miles radius at maximum. Now, let's continue. At 5, Nova Scotia is in Canada and has the largest tide variations. Number 6, temperature is temperature, rainfall, seasons, and the wind is also the patterns of the Earth, and helps produce high tides and low tides. Number 7, cold water takes up less volume than hot water. Number 8, uneven water levels across total ocean depends on the shape and geometry of coastlines. Also, number 9, the location of the sun and moon at the time. Number 10, magnetic fields of the sun and moon. These are gigantic magnetic fields which affect virtually everything from 1,000 or so miles away. Number 11, absorption of heat during the day all over the body of water. 12, we will go to tides. 30 feet in Anchorage, Alaska, 54.6 feet in Leaf Basin, Ungava Bay, that's in Quebec, Canada. Now, we can go to 13, down here, tidal forms. The semi-diurnal is 2 highs and 2 lows. The diurnal is 1 high and 1 low tide. We'll go to 14. The uneven high or low tides on the same body of water. Now, there can be uneven high or low tides on the same body of water, like an ocean or a sea. And the uneven underwater land, they are uneven because of the underwater land that is the basin of the system, the bottom of the sea floor and the ocean floors and the lake floors, underwater land, the beaches themselves, the basin shapes the land. If the water body of water is landlocked bodies of water, we'll go to 15. The sun's declination. Number 16, the meeting between two or more tidal fronts. This happens in the real world. Number 17, the strongest tides are in January, and from the strongest it is reduced in strength in July. Number 18, fast, slow, high, and low tides. It's also dependent on the water's inertia, how much the water don't want to move. Now, number 19, the moon's field force. That is the field force that holds everything down on the surface of the moon and so forth. The sun's field force is all the force that holds everything on the surface of the moon. The Earth's field force is the force that holds all the things on the Earth's surface down on the surface, and all other heavenly bodies, patterned field forces. All of these forces are patterned, all of them. 20, rivers. We'll go to rivers. Number 20, the highest high tide and low tide for rivers is Qiantang at Hangzhou, China, was 12 feet. 21, the Black Sea is considered to have no tide. This is 100% doubtful because it is a sea and it does have a high and low tide. You simply have to measure it right, even though it is landlocked. Number 22, a lunar day is 24 hours and about 50 minutes. Number 3, Earth is not rotating, an impossibility, of course. It has no centripetal force and no centrifugal force. Is 0 for both. Number 24, the density of water at other locations because of different chemicals and compositions. 25, 26, and 27, you will put there. You will find them and put them there. Let's continue, please. Now let's go to the composition of what makes high tides and low tides. Number 1, we'll start with number 1. High and low tides is a major pattern of the Earth produced by the conjunction of all other major patterns such as the elements just mentioned. Number 2, high and low tides is a 24-hour daily pattern cycle. Number 3, this is caused not by one single thing, but by about 15 to 20 things, as already mentioned. Number 4, each one of the things mentioned have mainly daily patterns, including the fixed stars, which rotate on a sidereal day of 23 hours and about 50 minutes, and the sun circulates over the Earth's surface at 24 hours, the moon at 24 hours and about 50 minutes or so. Number 5, the sun makes heat over about 40 to 50% of the central Earth per day. That's where we live, the central Earth. Number 6, the Earth making heat 24 hours a day in specific areas, and making cold 24 hours a day in other specific areas, both in general patterns. These are patterns, seasons and patterns and so forth. There's volcanic heat and deep earth constant heat and cold. Number 7, these are patterns, events. Number 7, the moon making coolness over 40% of the central Earth where we live per day. Number 8, the expanding and contracting of water, regardless of the size of the body of water. Now, what you can do to comprehend this is go to YouTube and write what causes high and low tides. You will see oceans, seas, lakes, swamps, marshes, etc. rise and fall. And all you must do is watch 2 or more dozen of these videos until you get a firm understanding of what's taking place. Now we'll go to number 9. The magnetic field and electric fields of the expanding and contracting or stretching and then pushing atoms together and so forth over multiple and different chemicals to repel and attract, especially water, which is diamagnetic with minor electrical properties. Number 10. Earth's firmament dome container membrane. Keeping constant atmoplane, the Earth is a plane. The atmoplane is the gaseous layer of that plane, of the Earth's plane. The H2O plane of water, which is H2O in liquid form, H2O in solid form is ice, H2O in vapor form is gas, and the firmament dome, the firmament dome, the Mark Sargent firmament dome container membrane keeps H2O constant pressure, which means all the water in the world most likely expands and contracts to their own degrees, including ourselves as living beings. We are made of water. Microscopically, though, since we ourselves are made of water, though it's unnoticeable, we are the chemicals and patterns of the surface of the Earth. We'll go to 11. The sun, moon, phoenix, nemesis, wandering stars, fixed stars producing electric and magnetic field pressures on the firmaments, more than one, on the firmament dome membranes, which have patterns, such force throughout Earth's body, which creates forces throughout Earth's body and the total system. Now, I want to thank everyone for listening and watching, and have a fine day. Please share this video and subscribe, of course. And we will meet on the next video shortly. So have a good day once again. Take care